All right, last video before a quiz. This one is probably the most challenging we've done so far this year. It's not super tough, but it does make you put your thinking cap on a little bit. Okay? We are going to be dividing these numbers with decimals in them. Okay, and we do this from long division. So on this top problem, I think the easiest way is just kind of show you right away. It ends up being, we know that this number goes underneath this rational here. So I got 4.32, and this is 3.6. Okay. And so what I want to do in order to solve this problem is get rid of the decimal on this side. And I'm going to do that by moving it over to the right, because if we move it to the left, it's just going to make it a smaller decimal. So if I move it to the right, this becomes 36. But in order to do that, we have to move the decimal in this as well. So what ends up happening is we end up getting 36 and then 43.2. And now we take that decimal and we're going to move it right up here. Okay, so the key is you move the decimal for that left number to make it an integer. Okay, and now we're just going to do long division like we've always done before. And so we do 36 goes into this one time. So that's 36. We subtract, and that gives us 72. 36 goes into 72 twice. And then we have no remainder. And so our answer is 1.2. Okay. Now, if we have negatives mixed in, just like multiplying, we take it to the very last step and we ask ourselves, should this answer be positive or negative? In this case, it should be negative. And that's it. All right? So it's long division. Got to get rid of the decimal in that left number, and that's just regular long division. So for this one, same thing we've been doing. We're going to ignore that negative until the very last step. And so I'm going to go 12.95. So there, this is 1.25. And now I have to move the decimal to the right twice to get rid of it here. So I have to move this one to the right twice as well. Well, if I do that, both the decimals just go away, or they end up there. So then I move it right there. Okay, so now I'm going to do long division just like I did before. So 129, 125. Well, that's going to go in once. So I go 125, and I'm left with 45 down here, because that 5 is going to be brought down. Well, I can't put this into here because it's bigger, so that's a 0. And then that's 0. So 45. Now we have a remainder. So if we have a remainder, we're going to have to add a 0 onto this number. We can do that because 2.0 and 2 are the same thing. So 1295 is the same thing as 1295.0. So I bring this 0 down here. Okay. So then if I do that, I have to figure out how many times this number can go in there. So I get 125, then becomes 250, then becomes 375, and then becomes 500. Okay, so 375, 1, 2, 3 times. It's right there. Okay, so now we do our normal system here. So this becomes 75. And I bring this here down. All right, so now we continue on our process, 625 and 750. Oh, and now we hit our number. If we didn't hit our number on this one, we're not going to keep adding zeros forever. We're just going to be done at this point. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then it's done. Now we have to go back to the very beginning and ask ourselves, should this answer be positive or negative? In this case, it should be negative. Okay, so there's a lot here, so I want to recap. Got to move that decimal before we start, and then we have to figure out how many times this number can go into here. If we get down and we have a remainder like we did here, we have to add zeros after that decimal point until we're done. Okay? But if we move that decimal point right away, it's not going to move for the rest of the problem. So I'm going to do one more here. 9 divided by negative 1.25, so that means the 9 is going to be in the bottom. And this is 1.25. Now we have to get rid of the decimal here. The problem is there is no decimal here, so I'm going to add one in and then add a couple zeros because we're going to move it twice. Okay, so then this becomes 125, and this becomes 900. So I'm going to have to do our system here. 125 becomes 250, becomes 375, becomes 500, 625, 750, 875. There we go. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Goes right there. So that's 875. So that's 25 left over. Now I need to add in a 0. And I forgot my decimal, so it goes right there. I add in a 0, and I bring that down. So 250. Oh, we hit it. 1, 2. So our answer is 7.2. We go back to the beginning and ask ourselves, should this be positive or a negative? And it should be negative because a positive divided by a negative should be negative. And there is our answer. I will try my hardest to give you problems that do not go on forever. At some point they'll end on these long division ones. Okay? I want you to try this one on your own. So I get 1.06 and I get 0.2. I have to move the decimal once. So this actually is a really easy one I gave you here. So I get 2 and 10.6, so the decimal goes right there. 2 can go into 10 5 times, so that becomes 10. And we bring down our 6. 2 can go into 6 3 times, so our answer is 5.3. And our answer should be positive because it's a positive divided by a positive. And that's it. Okay, this one will take some time. So make sure you get in good solid practice. It's another PDF assignment, so no IXL for this one. But if you needed some help, IXL does have some available.